The Wings of Liberty campaign begins on good old Marsara, where it's established that Mengsk is still in power and that he and Raynor still want each other dead.
It ain't over till it's over, you son of a bitch.
Raynor also seems to be inexplicably carrying a picture of Kerrigan from back when she was a human. That's weird, but I guess it makes sense in no way whatsoever. Anyway, Tychus is introduced so we can get the plot regarding the Mobius Foundation moving. Apparently he's the guy from the original announcement trailer as well as an old friend of Raynor's. Let me get real for a minute. Tychus Findlay is fucking awesome. During missions, he rolls around with a damn minigun, just like George from Halo Reach, at least when he isn't busy stomping people's faces off in a giant robot. More than anything, though, he hangs around in the Hyperion's cantina, generally occupying himself with being a badass. Jim and Tychus dick around on Marsara for a few missions, in a transparent attempt to make us feel nostalgic about the original Terran campaign. This is something I would have found cheap and insulting, if they hadn't recycled the best of the original missions, where you have to fight off swarms of Zerg long enough to be evacuated from the planet. This time around, Raynor's own ship, the Hyperion, arrives suddenly to bail everyone out at the last minute. So I suppose Raynor was just on vacation this whole time, and he waited until the last minute so that he could flatten Tychus's balls, I guess. Once everyone's back into space, we're immediately told that Kerrigan has returned and that the Zerg are rampaging all over the sector, killing billions. But this is immediately forgotten, since we're just see it on a video broadcast for just a few fucking seconds. But never mind all that crap, we're off to treasure hunt for fun and profit. And after that, we overthrow the unified human government, the only institution that could potentially form a bulwark against the rampaging Zerg. To justify Raynor and his marauding assholery, the game attempts at every opportunity to explain that Mengsk is both unable and unwilling to deal with the Zerg threat.
Emperor, the threat of a new Zerg invasion is still very real. But instead of expanding our fleets, you've squandered trillions on hunting down has-been rebels like Jim Raynor.
Can I just remind everyone that this is the guy who threw everything at Kerrigan at the end of Brood War because he knew she'd become a thorn in his side one day?
I called in a few favors, made a few concessions. You'd be surprised to see how many special interest groups in this sector want to see you dead.
Holy balls, did you get old and useless in 4 years. Although I do like the plucky reporter who repeatedly makes stooges of Mengsk and his media puppets on live television, all somehow without getting fired or just stabbed in the face at night by ghosts. Oh, and I expect it was intentional, but these media shorts are dangerously cheesy.
I imagine civilian casualties were high as a result of Raynor's terrorist actions.
Actually, the only civilian deaths appear to be collateral damage from overzealous Dominion security forces.
Thanks, Kate. You heard it here first. Jim Raynor, killing women and children on Marsara.
It's not just the Dominion and the Zerg you tangle with, though. We have to fight the Protoss for a few missions, which presents a problem because Raynor is supposed to be buddies with them now. Thus, the artifact missions introduce you to the Tal'Darim, religious zealots who basically behave like the Covenant from Halo.
A group of fanatics call themselves the Tal'Darim. Now don't get all sentimental thinking these Tal'Darim are your old Protoss buddies, 'cause they ain't.
The Tal'Darim are supposed to have their own doctrine, but it basically amounts to whatever will be a pain in the ass to the Raiders at any given moment. They might as well have an ancient holy book with nothing but the words "fuck Raynor" inside. Going to pick up the next piece of the artifact? The Tal'Darim have decided that the planet is holy ground. Need some kind of special gas? It's holy gas! You will get so tired of hearing these same chumps preach their vague bullshit over and over and over.
Oh, hell. Not these Tal'Darim guys again. They seriously need to learn when to quit.
That said, I do have a bigger bone to pick beyond these guys just being boring. While it makes sense realistically that the followers of the Protoss religion would have crazy fringe fundamentalists, this was already used as a plot device for the original StarCraft. Tassadar and Zeratul struggle against the unbending, dogmatic zealotry of their own race was basically the entire plot to the original Protoss campaign. The Conclave and their blind adherence to the literal interpretation of the Kala or something was finally overcome by the end of StarCraft, in time for everyone to get their shit together and deal with the Overmind. And even though Aldaris got dragged along in Brood War long enough to be a thorn in everyone's side, he's fucking dead now. So now Wings of Liberty introduces the Tal'Darim like fundamentalist Protoss with backwards-ass beliefs as a brand new story concept. Oh, fuck off! That's like a Zelda game introducing a new villain called Banendorf. The later mission, where Raynor has to choose between his Protoss friends and his own race regarding an infected colony, is a far more interesting hook for a Terran versus Protoss mission. But I guess Raynor having to repeatedly put the interests of his own species against his Protoss friends would have forced him to have some kind of actual character development. The Tal'Darim, on the other hand, are more just like cartoon villains, and believe me, I'll have more to say about one-dimensional villainry in this game later. Since they aren't dealt with by the end of Wings of Liberty, I have every reason to believe you'll have to fight with the Tal'Darim again in the Protoss campaign, which would clinch StarCraft 2's ambition to episodically reuse the same conflicts over and over. Wasn't the Protoss and the Dark Templar's search for a new identity in the aftermath of Aiur's destruction interesting enough? Can't we just move on with the goddamn story? And while we're on that subject, despite the fact that I'll eventually rail against Wings of Liberty for not focusing on the fight against Mengsk enough, aren't we pretty much rehashing the original Terran campaign here? Raynor and friends struggle against an oppressive regime. I mean, sure, the entire point of the Terran campaign was that Mengsk and the Sons of Korhal were no better than the Confederate bastards they overthrew. But when you think about it, nothing has changed about the political landscape of the Copperloo sector since the beginning of StarCraft 1. The humans are ruled by an oppressive dictatorship. The Protoss largely consist of religious nutjobs. The Zerg are laying low, waiting for the right moment to strike. Tell me more, Blizzard! Anyway, back to our heroes. Raynor and his pals are being paid off by the shadowy Mobius Foundation, who want the pieces of the magic MacGuffin wand. Eventually, Mobius need their asses bailed out on some university planet because Kerrigan has decided to show up in person. So we save this asshole, who will probably never be important again.
Oh, Commander Raynor. Thank the stars you've come.
Dr. Nerud. I do wonder how they came up with that one. Hey, he's a professor, so let's give him a name that sounds like a euphemism for my left nut. Also, Kerrigan thinks she knows him.
I've seen through your Dr. Nerud's pathetic charade.
I wonder what sad low in her career caused her to pal around with this twit. Actually, let's talk about Kerrigan for a moment, shall we? Who the hell is Trisha Helfer? Is she our new nerd goddess du jour? She was in Halo ODST when that game's cast was mostly known for being plundered from Firefly. I guess she was in that new Battlestar Galactica, which I know nothing about. But why was Kerrigan's voice replaced? Did Blizzard think that casting this actress would give motherfucking StarCraft, of all franchises, some much-needed sci-fi credibility? I'm sure I'm not the only one who misses her old voice. She doesn't really sound like the Kerrigan we know. Ultimately, though, the voice is the least of it. Kerrigan has been transformed into a fucking Scooby-Doo villain, and I have no idea why.
You're even more desperate than I thought. You can't really believe this plan of yours has even a chance of working.
You don't even have a quantum of an iota of the tiniest chance of defeating my newly hammy villainry.
でもゼロじゃないんだな。だったら、俺にとっては 100% と同じことだ。
As if these changes weren't enough, after that mission, they play a flashback cutscene to show that they've used the power of modern technology to make the old human Kerrigan flaming hot. I might well be the only one who sees this, but she looks to me like they've retconned her to be half Korean. Make of that what you will. I guess it was more of a product of old-school FMV than anything, but everyone in StarCraft 1 looked very dirty and tired, and it emphasized that life wasn't easy living on the fringe under the Confederacy.
Damn, you're ugly.
StarCraft 1 Kerrigan may not have been particularly attractive, but the physical unattractiveness of these characters, for me, somehow made the love story in the original Terran campaign feel more genuine. The relationship between Raynor and Kerrigan was told very subtly, and as long as one of the characters doesn't look like a damn lingerie model, we can assume something deeper than them just drunkenly hooking up once in some command center storage locker. I suppose this counts as a personal point, but having Kerrigan look this idealized compared to her old appearance really cheapens it for me. Oh, and by the way, this cutscene is melodramatic and stupid. Ah yes, cliché fantasy character death music. With enough slow motion and na-ya-na-nas, we can make anything look tragic. I actually found the original version of this scene, with Kerrigan's base being obliterated by hundreds of rampaging Zerg in-game while she screams over the comm for backup, far more riveting and emotional than this glitzy FMV crap.
Commander? Jim? What the hell is going on up there?
Also, didn't this take place on a space platform? Now it's on the planet's surface. The space platforms are awesome. Why would you change that? Okay, so I'll admit, I've really been splitting hairs up to this point. But then Zeratul appears to make this game truly suck ass. It's not explained how he got on Raynor's ship, he just appears like a ninja and then leaves. I guess he can warp space-time with his Dark Templar powers and just appear wherever he damn pleases. But before Zeratul goes, he hands Raynor a magic crystal with a special power. The power to destroy any and all credibility the StarCraft narrative might have had forever.